Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to be going over the exclusive buyer-broker agreement and agency disclosure. Again, we've had a few changes to quite a few forms on the MLS and offered through the state. And so focusing on the exclusive buyer-broker agreement, again, I want to reiterate that moving forward, you cannot show any properties unless you have a buyer-broker agreement or a limited showing agreement in place. And you can find another limited showing agreement video on our YouTube channel for more information on that one. But with the buyer-broker agreement, in section 1.1, I do want to reiterate to our agents that this date you are placing down is when you will no longer represent your client. This is not your start date. We continue to have agents putting in the start date here rather than when their contract will go through. And so what that creates is an agreement that is immediately accepted and terminated because the end date is placed as the start date. So make sure you are putting when that contract does end. Moving on to 1.2, before showing your clients the property, you can send this to them electronically, you can have a printout with them in place, but you do need to explain to them that represent them as an agent, that you are allowed to show them and provide them fiduciary responsibilities. If you are using the limited showing agreement, then you are just showing them the property and you have no representation for them, nor do you owe them those additional fiduciary duties or responsibilities. So first off, there's a couple options here. One is if your clients are a little bit, or potential clients are hesitant to sign an agreement that is a blanketed area or geographical location. Maybe you're looking at all of Salt Lake County, but they do want to see the property, and maybe they're interested in seeing just that one, and you say, hey, I will go ahead and represent you. If you do decide to move forward with this property, then I can represent you with a compensation model in place. So you have both of those options here. So located only within, that means anything outside of this area is not protected for you to earn a commission or represent them. Now you can put county or multiple counties. So maybe you're taking someone who's looking in Salt Lake County and Utah County, but you're unwilling to drive down to Sevier County or Washington County. So then you would just place the sections that you would be holding that responsibility to represent them in that area. So now, can you put multiple counties? Yes, you can. Can you just place one? Yes, you can. Can you put all the counties in Utah? Yes, you can. The other thing is, if it's just the property, or maybe you're taking to show a few properties maybe on a Saturday, you can put multiple property addresses here where then you represent that client if they decide to purchase those said properties. Now, again, you can do a listing or a limited showing agreement to a select few properties, and you could charge them a small flat fee or just say you're not going to charge them a fee. I think this is much better, saying, hey, I'm fine to show you these properties, but if you do move forward with these, then I would be compensated for my assistance throughout that process. That's going to make sure that you are better compensated for your expertise and that you're not wasting your time just showing properties for no reason. Now we're going to go down to this next box. Also, one thing we're starting to see is some agents are not checking this box. If you're putting a bunch of addresses here and these are not checked, well, then it is not showing that you are representing them in that section. Do not forget to check that box. Okay. Continue on to this section. The buyer does have a representation agreement with another brokerage for the following properties, and these properties are excluded from this exclusive buyer-broker agreement. So maybe you are showing just one property, but they did see another property, maybe in another county, and they have another buyer-broker agreement with that specific property. You do want to clarify what agreements they have in place. Just as before, you should be clarifying if they have a relationship. You also want to place those in here so that way you're not duplicating commissions. The onus is on you to verify that information and check with your clients. And then again, you need to check this box for that to be considered part of the contract. So then moving down to section 2, it goes into the different compensation models. So right here you have the buyer's obligation to pay the brokerage fee. So the buyer agrees to pay the company of the brokerage fee in the amount of said dollar amount, and, this is an important word, and percentage. So moving forward with agents at RealtyPath, you will be placing your commission that you are accepting as your purchase commission. And then on the left side, instead of having a secondary commission agreement, you will put your secondary commission fee here. So you can place $395 there, unless you want to take that commission out of your percentage. So be sure to place that in there. It's one less form to sign, but moving forward, you will need to have that signed here. Beforehand, you can't add in the secondary commission form later. It has to be at the beginning of the agreement. And that's one thing to reiterate to the agents, is that you cannot increase your percentage after this agreement. Now, there are some caveats. There's explanations as why there is an increase, but the overall rule is that once you have a percentage in place, you need to keep that. So another thing we've seen some people put here, to be determined. You cannot place a to be determined on this form. It needs to be specific. So you can't just say, we'll figure out later. It needs to be an exact amount, because you cannot increase that later on. So be sure that you have that discussion with your clients on what that may be. So most of the form is relatively the same, so this should give you a lot more guidance. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to your broker. And if they're unavailable at the moment and you need an immediate response, you can always reach out to our agent support at agentsupport@realtypath.com. So add this to your tool belt and keep closing those deals.